Hi, friends, musicians. Adam Brenner here. I just wanted to ask if anybody's watching this to share what was the event or moment that you decided that there was no turning back? You were inspired to commit to this music no matter what. Money, no money, fame, no fame. You had to do it. There's something inside that was burning and it pushed you to commit to doing this, to overcome you know, the reluctance to do the hard work, to practice, and it's just that goal, that reason, the why had become so big. I'll tell you a story about what happened for me in that instance. It was I was 16, 17 maybe, 1976 and or 7, and I had a band director in high school that was he saw something in me. I'm grateful forever for what he did. He loaned me 4 records, which changed my life. A Love Supreme, John Coltrane's sound with The Night Has a Thousand Eyes and cousin. No, it was just a giant step. Anyway, that was one of my. It's still one of my favorite Coltrane records, and so is A Love Supreme, of course. Dexter Gordon, A Swingin' Affair, and Chick Corea, Inner Space from '66 or '7. Woody Shaw, Joe Farrell. Anyway, these records really, really impacted me. But more than that, he told me to go see Phil Woods, who was playing locally. I didn't even know who that was. I was 16. I didn't have much experience listening to music, jazz music, like the real thing. Grew up listening to all kinds of music. But so I went down. My father took me to Gulliver's, which is a local club in West Patterson. I was from Passaic, a couple towns over in New Jersey. And it was run by a guy named Amos Kahn, beautiful guy. He was a sweetheart. All the musicians loved him. In fact, Sam Jones wrote a tune called One for Amos for him. So when they started to play, and even before they played, I noticed there was no microphone. There was no bass amp. There's no wires, nothing, no amplification, nothing for the piano. It was all acoustic. I said, this is unusual. And then they started to play, and Phil, I don't have to say anything about Phil Woods probably. If you don't know who he was, one of the greatest exponents of the alto saxophone, Grammy winner, just pole winner, sensational level of excellence that, he either scared the crap out of you or he inspired you or both. But his sound had the biggest impact on me. And what he played, but his sound. Huge, huge, beautiful, full, clear, bright, confident, bold sound. And the alto is kind of hard to project on that instrument sometimes. It's not like a tenor. It's a little bit bigger. And anyway, they were stomping. It was an amazing night. And I left that night a changed man. I was determined I said, I want to get a sound like that. I want to be that impactful. Of course, I'm still trying, but he did that for me. It was the first musician I'd ever heard that was that great. I never heard anybody play that great. And I started practicing after that, and practicing and practicing and practicing. I was still trying. 30 years later, I met him and I sat in, and it was great. And he said, "You're welcome on my bandstand anytime." But what was the story for you? What was the impactful moment? What was the turning point? What was the event or situation that you were in? What age were you that had that kind of impact? That was like a departure. There was the before, and then there was after that moment, after that event. If there was one, what was it? How old were you, and where was it, and who did you see? Who did you hear, or what inspired you? I know how important this was for me, and I'm really curious about hearing from other people what it was for them. What did it? What changed them? What made them decide to go into this? Because it's got to be something. We don't just, wake up one day and decide to become a jazz musician. Although it's not something you have to think about that hard, because I think all of us were meant to do this. It wasn't for me like I'm getting ready to go to college, 18 years old. I'm like, should I be a doctor or a lawyer or a jazz musician? No, I never had to do that. I'm sure none of you did either. The music chooses us, I think, and then we got no choice because it's in our heart and we got to do it because we love it. Money or no money, fame or no fame. So if there's an impactful moment that it was a turning point for you about music, please share it in the comments or make a video and tell me about it. I know I'm not the only one who wants to hear about this. It's an interesting thing in the process of, becoming who we are and arriving at that point where you just commit for life. No matter what, you're going to do this. Hard practicing, so what? Sleepless nights, transcriptions, reading, whatever. You're going to do the work because you wanted to get to the results and you wanted to sound the way you wanted to sound. And it was going to take some effort. So, but what was that moment for you? Anyway, if you can share it in the comments, I'd be really happy to read them and find out a little bit more about you and what made you the player you are. All right, thanks a lot.